What's cracking, y'all? You are now watching Boo TV. Appreciate you for stopping in. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, stay notified, and let's get into the topic for today. What up, what up, what up, what up? Back with another reaction video, I guess you can say, from the Michael Jordan Vault. Uncovering the truth about the 1996 finals. This is done by a YouTuber / YouTube channel called Showtime Nick. This guy is an exceptional YouTuber, puts out great content, great quality content, great insightful, informational, and unbiased content. He doesn't just cover basketball, he covers a wide range of sports to include basketball, obviously, football, and even baseball. He is a true sports savant and has a wide range of knowledge across multiple sports and the history of those sports. So definitely go check out his channel. He does shorts, he does informational videos where he digs down into analysis, into statistics, into numbers, and applies context to these things. Sits down, watches tape, reviews it, talks about it, his findings. He does college sports, game vlogs, I mean, you name it. Showtime Nick is on it. Quick story about how I got into connection with this guy. I think we were just, both of us were in the comment section of some random other YouTube channel that had to do with Kobe Bryant, I think. And him, I was reading through the comments, and Showtime Nick and somebody else was in a discussion. And I can't remember what I said exactly, but started interacting with him right there in the comment section. And then, you know, he finds my YouTube channel, and then I find his YouTube channel. And then he hits me up on Instagram. Turns out we both live in Japan. We're both YouTubers. We both have very similar views when it comes to the game of basketball and addressing the bronzexuals and shedding light on Kobe Bryant's career. So yeah, it's small world. And then when he found me on Instagram, on social media, it turns out we have actual mutual friends. We had 2 mutual friends, and I was like, bro, you know these 2 people? He's like, yeah, you know these 2 people? I was like, wow, what a small world. So small world. That's how me and Showtime Nick linked up, basically. But yeah, go check out his channel. Dope. You love basketball, you love sports. Trust me when I tell you, you'll be impressed. So based off the thumbnail of this video, it seems like he's going to be talking directly about, did Gary Payton actually lock up MJ in that final series? Now, I had read the description of the video, and it looks like Showtime Nick actually did go back and watch a lot of film of that series, and we'll see what his findings were, what his conclusion was. But if you remember from the Last Dance documentary, this topic was touched upon, and you know, Payton was like, I locked up Mike, blah blah blah, and then Jordan kind of like scoffed and chuckled at it, like, GP didn't do nothing to me. He didn't do nothing to me. And if you remember, Jordan was having his way with the Seattle Supersonics in the beginning of that series, scoring over 30 points per game, shooting an admirable field goal percentage. And then a couple seasons into the series, GP, who was dealing with an injury at the time, but was undisclosed injury, coach was like, all right, GP, I'm going to put you on Mike. And then Mike, his production started dipping a little bit after the GP assignment, and he went from like 30 points per game to like the low 20s, and then his field goal percentage dumped somewhere into the 30th percentile. And Gary Payton believes that he is directly responsible for Michael Jordan's dip in production. But we'll see what Showtime Nick has to say about it. All right, let's check it out.
Gary Payton became known as the Michael Jordan stopper because he was assigned as Jordan's primary defender in the final 3 games of the 1996 NBA Finals, and suddenly Jordan was locked up and the Sonics got back in the series. I used to believe this too, but I recently watched this entire series and realized there's not much truth to this. You will see a big dip in Jordan's stats from games 1 through 3 versus 4 through 6, and Gary Payton helped make this happen, but he did not do it alone. It was a team effort. This is why it's important to watch the full games to really know the full story. To quote Yogi Berra, you can observe a lot just from watching. Payton played a role in MJ's shooting struggles in games 4 and 6 of the 1996 Finals, which you can expect out of that season's Defensive Player of the Year, who was nicknamed the Glove because of his tenacious defense. You can also expect the Sonics to have other great defenders too, with the second best defensive rating in that NBA season only behind the Bulls. We all remember this part of The Last Dance, right?
It took a toll on Mike. It took a toll, and then I felt
That's what I was talking
him
about.
a little bit, and then the series changed. And I wish I could have did it earlier. I don't know if the outcome would have been different, but it was a difference. and beat me down a little bit.
The glove. I had no problem with the glove. I had no problem with Gary Payton.
When Michael Jordan said he had no problem with Gary Payton, there is some truth to this. If you go back and watch Game 1, MJ wanted every bit of Payton when Payton was guarding him. The narrative from this series is that George Karl miscalculated by waiting until Game 4 to assign Payton to guard Jordan. Detlef Schrempf guarded Jordan to start the series, and that did not go well because Schrempf didn't have the foot speed to keep up with Jordan. However, Gary Payton had his moments guarding Jordan in the first 3 games, so no, George Karl did not wait until Game 4 to have Gary Payton guard Michael Jordan. He just didn't make Payton Jordan's primary defender because Payton was slightly injured and Karl wanted Payton to have the energy to contribute on offense. In Game 2, Hersey Hawkins started out as Jordan's primary defender, and the help defender would be the closest guy to the ball. MJ went 9 for 22, which is just under 41%. You may be screaming inefficient here, but considering this was in the 90s and the rules allowed defense to be tougher back then, that's really not that bad for a perimeter player taking the most shots on the biggest stage. Scottie Pippen easily had his best game of the series while playing hurt with 21 points while 8 for 16. With 29 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds, and 2 steals, Jordan was more than good enough to get the Bulls a Game 2 victory to take a 2-0 series lead. Game 3 was MJ's statement game. After his first 2 games where he was good but not as dominant as he usually is, he scored 36 in Game 3, his only 30-point game in the series, while going 11 for 23 from the field, and the Bulls dominated to take a commanding 3-0 lead. Now, with nothing to lose, Gary Payton started Game 4 as Jordan's primary defender. Although the part about this adjustment being made in Game 4 is true, what's not true is that Payton was the only factor that gave Jordan a difficult time the rest of the series. Payton had help. Let's break this down. One thing that doesn't get talked about is Nate McMillan, Gary Payton's backup point guard. McMillan made the all-defensive second team in the 2 years prior to 1996, but then he injured his back during the 1996 conference finals. He tried to play through the pain in Game 1 and only lasted 6 minutes, and came back in Game 4 out of desperation. He would have been assigned to guard Michael Jordan a lot more had he not been hurt, and at 6'5", may have done a better job than most guys could guarding Jordan. I don't think McMillan's absence is the main reason the Sonics lost the finals. However, his absence did hurt the Sonics a little bit in the first 3 games, and his return in Game 4, even without lighting up the box score, gave the Sonics some new life, proving there's a lot more to sports than just stats. The Sonics dismantled the Bulls 106-87 in Game 4 while holding Michael Jordan to 23 points on just 6 of 19 from the field, and Scottie Pippen to 12 points points on just 4 of 17. Gary Payton did a good job getting Jordan off his game, but also got some help from his teammates. The Sonics double-teamed MJ as soon as he got the ball, which was a strategy they used in the first 3 games as well, but with Hersey Hawkins being Jordan's primary defender after realizing Detlef Schrempf isn't quick enough. There were also possessions where Gary Payton was on the floor, but someone else like David Wingate was guarding Jordan. After a rough Game 4, Michael Jordan had a great game statistically in Game 5, scoring 26 points while shooting 50%, and just from looking at the box score, it looks like Scottie Pippen, Tony Kukoc, and Steve Kerr really let Jordan down, while Ron Harper couldn't play more than a minute due to a knee injury that required surgery after the finals. George Karl said before Game 5 that
we can play with the Chicago Bulls and beat them if we don't turn the basketball over. I think if we control the turnover situation, it's going to be a close game.
And he may have had a point because the Sonics had more turnovers than the Bulls in each of the first 3 games, but in Games 4 and 5, the Bulls had more turnovers. Game 5, Gary Payton started the game as Michael Jordan's primary defender, but again, he got some help. The guy closest to MJ came to double team every time MJ had the ball. I also noticed on one of MJ's misses early in the game that Payton didn't get around the pick quickly enough to contest the shot. Next possession, MJ beat Payton on a backdoor cut. Overall, from what I saw in Game 5, I think Payton was doing the best he can to make Michael Jordan uncomfortable, but once again, he had plenty of help with double teams and switches that were thrown at MJ as soon as he got the ball. There were also some misses from Jordan where Payton was on the floor but was not anywhere near him. Hersey Hawkins still guarded MJ at times. MJ only scored 2 points in the fourth quarter of Game 5 of what happened to be an 89-78 loss when only down 3 going into the fourth quarter, so it's fair to say MJ didn't close the game like we usually expect. What happened then? The Sonics did a great job as a team getting the ball out of Jordan's hands by double and triple teaming him. In Game 6, the Bulls won their 4th championship in spite of Michael Jordan's worst shooting performance. In that game, he scored 22 points while shooting just 5 of 19 with 5 turnovers. He still did other things well, dishing out 7 assists, grabbing 9 rebounds, and had 2 steals and shot 11 for 12 at the free throw line. Let's get into why he struggled as badly as he did in Game 6 and how the Bulls won in spite of this. First, one thing we can see on the box score is that the Bulls out-rebounded the Sonics 51-35, with Dennis Rodman getting 19 of those rebounds. But I also want to talk about what we can't see on the box score. You need to watch the game to know this. Michael Jordan nailed the first shot he took with Gary Payton guarding him. His first miss, Hersey Hawkins contested, and there were more possessions later on in the game that Hawkins contested and Jordan missed. Early on, there was a lot of scrappy play with the refs swallowing their whistles. We saw David Wingate guard Jordan at times too, and there were some open shots that MJ missed during Game 6. There was also a point in Game 6 where MJ beat Payton on a backdoor off a screen from Luke Longley where Sean Kemp met him at the basket to block his shot. There was another backdoor cut later in the game where Jordan beat Payton, but this time converted. Another thing that hurt the Sonics in Game 6 was Nate McMillan re-aggravating his back injury after just 10 minutes of play. After watching all 6 games, yes, Gary Payton deserves some credit for slowing down Jordan, but not nearly as much as he gets. Hersey Hawkins and David Wingate deserve more credit than they get for their defense on Jordan, and the same goes for the Sonics' interior defense for their help defense, making it harder for Jordan to get to the basket. Nate McMillan also gave the Sonics a spark even without lighting up the box score. The moral of the story is that it's best to watch the games yourself to really know what happened. So what do you think? Please let me know in the comments. Good or bad, I always love reading them. I'm open to what you want me to cover next, so please let me know about that in the comments too. If you enjoyed the video, a like would be much appreciated. If you love sports, please be sure to consider subscribing and turning on notifications so you never miss another video. I'd love to have you as part of the team. Links to my social media are down below in the description. If you would like to see my most recent video or the video that YouTube recommends, both are up above. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.
Good context right there, and good breakdown by Showtime Nick. No question about it. Even without me and Showtime Nick went back and looked at all the footage, even after those comments were made in The Last Dance, I never went back and looked at it all. But just the thought of Gary Payton shutting Michael Jordan down for the remainder of the series just didn't seem to resonate with me, nor could I remember that necessarily being the situation. And it was a long time ago, but Nick just shed light on all that, and I'm glad he pointed out the fact that there were shots, very makeable shots, where Gary Payton got around and Michael late really didn't get a good contest, or even other players didn't get the contest they might have won it against Michael Jordan, and he just missed the open shot. So I think there is, like he said, a collaborative effort with the Seattle Supersonics in guarding Michael Jordan. And with that being said, probably just a little bit of everything that factored into his shooting performance, or for lack of a better word, scoring slump regarding, the switch off of Gary Payton being put on him. So I think it's a bevy of, different things. Like you said, credit some to Payton, credit some to the other teammates that were out there supporting, even players off the bench, having Mike as their primary assignment from time to time, and maybe just a little bit of Mike just being off the mark. Could be for, I'm not making excuses, I mean, they won a championship, but it could be for a variety of different reasons. Like, this was the 1996 finals. So, with that being said, this was his first full season after coming back from the baseball stint, his retirement. That was his first full season. And we all know back then there was no such thing as load management. So coming off, actually he returned, like I said, his first full season, because he only played a small portion in the playoffs where they lost to Magic prior to that. So his first full season, played 82 games, no load management. That was also the year the Bulls went 72-10. So he was going hard from beginning to the end of the season. Put up amazing numbers, like over 30 points per game. I don't remember how many rebounds, assists, maybe like 6 boards, 4 or 5 assists, something like that. Probably had about 1.5, 2.5 steals. I don't have the stats up, but he balled out in his first full season after his retirement, and not to mention that he played every single game in the playoffs. On top of that, so that's also something to consider. Maybe a little bit of wear and tear, maybe a little bit of fatigue. But definitely, you can credit the Seattle Supersonics defense to include Gary Payton's tenacity and vigor that he was displaying. I mean, he was definitely active, moving his feet, moving his hands, trying to get up under Michael's chest, get under his neck, get in his face, put hands on him where he could, get hands on the ball, crowd him, things like that. You got to credit that to the defense as well. No question about it. But ultimately, wasn't enough to get the job done still. And like Showtime Nick said, man, you got to watch the basketball games. A lot of things happen. A lot of things are present. A lot of things that you need to look at for you to be able to consider, and not just look at damn box scores all the damn time. Now, there's something else I want to bring up about that series that I think doesn't really get mentioned, was Shawn Kemp's brilliance. Shawn Kemp was a brilliant player. Now, I'm not talking about like Orlando Magic Shawn Kemp, when he basically looked like old boy from Ghostbusters. I don't remember his name. The Michelin Ghost, Marshmallow Ghost guy. I can't remember his name for life. What is that ghost name off Ghostbusters 1? That was Ghostbusters. Was that Ghostbusters 2? The big white marshmallow ghost was. No, that had to be Ghostbusters. No, because 2 had Slimer. I think it was Ghostbusters 1. Anyway, I don't feel like Googling it. Let me know what Ghostbusters movie it was. But Shawn Kemp came out looking like that dude, except the black version. And but Kemp balled out in that series, man. He had a fantastic series. Now, if I remember correctly, he was actually in the top 3 by the voters for MVP, even though he was on a losing squad, above GP. Shawn Kemp had, I don't got the numbers in front of me, but Kemp had something like 23, 24 points per game, had double-digit rebounds, at least 10 rebounds per game, maybe a little more. Handful of assists, and, you know, throwing a handful of blocks on what would be pretty normal for a player at his position back then, shooting over 50% from the field. He was consistent from game to game to game to game. Shawn Kemp is a very underrated player. Anyway, let me know what you think about it. It's boiling hot, and this making this content in the summertime is just, I don't got AC in this room, and it's just so hot. I am sweating. I have to go cool off for a little bit. Showtime Nick, salute you, my guy. I appreciate you. Thank you for supplying this great content. And once again, y'all go check out Showtime Nick's YouTube channel. I'll put a link to his channel in the description of this video. You can go check him out, help you find him a little bit easier. Y'all be blessed. Take care. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, stay notified, and I catch you on the next one. We out, baby.